Pérez Molina commanded troops in one of Guatemala's most violent areas, has been implicated in a number of political crimes. Now, new evidence suggests that he may have orchestrated the 1998 murder of the beloved Guatemalan human rights activist Bishop Juan Gerardi. This is a major charge you are making on this eve of the Guatemalan election.
It's a charge that I'm repeating because I was led to it by two of the major sources for me throughout the book. It's funny because it's actually only a few pages of the book where this charge emerges, when the key witness in the case, apparently a park vagrant who was situated outside the parish house where the murder took place on the night of the murder, but who was actually an Army intelligence agent who had been planted there and in fact had a role in the murder. The vagrant, Ruben Chanax, who years later, he was a key witness when the case finally went to trial. And I tracked him down when he was living in Mexico City as a semi-protected witness and working in a taco stand. And in the course of our conversations, where we went over the case time and time again, every detail of the case, it emerged that at the crime scene, we know that the crime was being monitored by 3 military officers who were sort of overseeing events from a little store nearby the church that night. He had, in the legal case, identified one, Colonel Lima Estrada, one of the men who eventually was imprisoned, but he repressed the names of 2 for his own reasons, including staying alive. And he told me that one of those men was General Otto Pérez Molina. Now, just him saying that wasn't really enough. I needed, obviously, confirmation. The confirmation for me came from the most important source I had, a man named Rafael Mons, a former Spanish intelligence agent who headed the UN mission's internal investigation into the Gerardi murder. And when he interrogated this Chanax, this vagrant, 2 days after the murder, he first heard it from him. Then he said, for instance, he tried to say, I have no knowledge. When he responded to what had appeared in the paper, he said, I don't know Captain Lima, one of the imprisoned military men. Well, we knew from the UN that he and Captain Lima were constantly having cell phone calls while Lima was in prison. And the funny thing is, people in Guatemala immediately started to email the newspaper, giving details of the 30-year relationship between Captain Lima and Pérez Molina. So why did he lie about this? And even more importantly, the UN mission investigator told me that, because Pérez Molina claimed that he was in Washington, D.C. the week the murder happened, and that he had a passport that showed this. But the UN investigator told me to pay no attention to his passports. He's a military intelligence person. He uses multiple passports, and we know that 3 nights after the murder, he had dinner. Pérez Molina had dinner with the UN mission chief, Jean Arnault, who wanted to sound him out about his theories about the murder because he's an intelligence chief. And he thought this would never come out. And he thought he had an alibi. But then even after this came out, a Guatemalan paper went and investigated, and they found that he had 7 passports registered in his name, confirming the UN skepticism about his claims.